Blazzy. I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Awesome. Blazzy, how'd you get into to graphic design?
That's kind of a tricky question, just because there's been like different parts of my life where, you know, it starts with Legos and then you're just redrawing, you know, shit in middle school, and then get introduced to Photoshop a little after that, and that's kind of how it started. I don't really know where like the hard point was at, but it's always been part of my life, more or less just art. I like to think so, you know, different like mediums, you know. In like middle school, I was the kid who redesigned everybody's MySpace profile to like a South Park variation of that. I would really start it at somewhere around like 2016. I was just doing cover art for like the first 2 years. About to the end of 2017, and then it just kind of transcended into doing clothing. What got me into clothing was, you know, I was just doing crazy flyers all over Twitter, you know, and it was just little cities like Dallas who were really fucking with my style before LA was, or any other city. And through that I met brands like Activity, you know, and Ugly Clothing, you know, and they kind of were just working with me and letting me know like, hey, all this stuff you're doing with the flyers, let's do it on t-shirts. And you know, the funny part is I had tried doing it on t-shirts years before that, and it kind of never really made sense. You know, when you do cover art, it's kind of ironic. You literally think within a box, it's a square, you know, layout. With t-shirts, you're usually dealing with around like a rectangular layout. So, you know, that was probably like the toughest you know, bridge to cross for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I think I really started dressing once like jerking came to LA, you know, like once it started, then everyone started shopping at the mall. It started becoming a statement. Prior to that, I was just wearing like, you know, flip-flops. I was like 8th grade or something, you know, skateboarding and shit. So it was around the same time, you know, doing the same pace and thing. I mean, like, people don't really know this, but, you know, Activity helped me out with that Tay-K project. And, you know, that's a clothing brand that kind of helped me out with merch, you know, and that kind of helped, you know, leverage my page, other pages, and that's how we got it started for sure. Through Twitter, like I said, I was doing a lot of cover art and like flyers for just Dallas artists. Like, there's this page called Newest Mag on Twitter. Shout out to them. You know, they told me early on, you know, I was having trouble getting any of my, you know, designs looked at. I was doing covers for like $10, $5, and he just told me like, hey, work with these guys in Dallas. It was what was that shit called? It's called Crit Life. Shout out Crit Life. And through that kind of just started, you know, relationships with Activity and Tay Money and Emotional Zen. Like, I was meeting them like 2 years before they were like anything, you know. So it was really exciting scene for sure. But that's how, you know, that's how me and Tommy got started. Well, it's a really good story, so check it out. I had a homie named Ugly Chris who invited me to Dallas. It was the first time I ever got on a flight. I was 21, I was going to Dallas, and that same day, that's when Tay-K went viral on Say Cheese and all these like publications, like, hey, you know, America's most top wanted, you know, we got this guy, he's a rapper, and like people are finding his Twitter and all types of shit. So I didn't think anything of it. I go to the show, and then I realized his name was on the flyer. He's supposed to perform that night. So the whole like outside of it was just filled with like fake cop cars, I guess you could say. Yeah. And long story short, the next day he told me like, hey, they wanna do merch for you know, for his lawyer fees and shit. I'm like, cool. Well, what are they charging? They're like, oh, well, it's for they don't really have a budget. And I was like, can't do it. And then my homies convinced me for like 30 minutes, and they're like, nah, bro, do it. Like, you're tripping. It's gonna be huge. And this is before the race came out. You know, it's a couple of days before then. And he told me like, do it. So I just went ahead and did it. And at the time, I probably thought that was like the best design ever made, you know, in the history. And that kind of helped me, you know, really see, you know, fashion becoming a medium for me to like really capitalize off my art, you know. A lot of that stuff, well, for instance, for those two projects, people don't even know about the Lil Wayne, but those were Chinatown projects right there. And that's kind of how a lot of those like really strong first projects came about. It was, you know, shout out Mike Sherman, you know, trusting me with doing projects like that, you know, even when I was just coming in to start, you know, I started doing mock-ups when I first started working with Chinatown. That's all they had me do. So like, you know, started there, and then from there it's been different relationships. Sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's a record label, sometimes it's the homie's cousin's manager, you know. It's all different, you know, little nooks and crannies you get in with artists. With Chinatown Market, it was, shout out Dylan Gerstein. We were both in these like weird Twitter groups, and we connected on there. And I know he was from Indiana, and he just got to LA, and he was working with this new brand called Chinatown Market. They had like 35K at the time. This is like mid 2017, and also working a full-time job at the airport. And you know, I just tell him like, yo, like what's up? He's like, well, they need graphics, pull up. So I made 10 graphics. He said no to all of them, and it was ironic because one of them that I had made, he was working on it as he was reviewing it. He was like, wait a second, it's the same graphic. It was the Finder, the MacBook Finder as like a smiley face, like 2017. We were having fun, but that got denied. And then like 3 months later, I tried doing it again. Like, oh, well, you could do mock-ups, and that's kind of how I got started with that. And then from there, it took me about like 6 months. I was doing videos for Chinatown Market. Like we spent like about 4 months developing like Chinatown Market TV. You know, people don't even know about that side. You know, my video editing side. I've done shit for Young Bands, Smoke Perp, just, you know, show projections. We were having a lot of fun with videos. The crossword puzzle, they were just, you know, just through seeing them using different techniques for interaction, I was just thinking like, how could I incorporate a washable marker? That was my first idea. And then secondly was like, okay, well, how can I make it Chinatown Market branded, and how could people, you know, have fun with this shirt? And that's kind of the crossword puzzle idea right there.
That's awesome. Like, what does your creative process look like when coming up with an idea like that?
I mean, it's really like whenever I get pressed, I wouldn't say pressed, but whenever like whenever I get presented an idea, it's like, you know, I'll get it off their energy. You know, if I feel like this is a big opportunity for me, like that's probably my biggest inspiration, is like, okay, how big is this opportunity? You know, let me not fuck this up. But you know, it's all kind of on a case-by-case basis for sure. It's just literally just building small relationships from the jump, you know, and really, you know, just keeping it cool with people, you know. Like I have no problem as a creative to tell people, yo, your shit's sick, and, you know, like, be a fan of that, you know. I think that's like, that's an important part about being an artist, is acknowledging, you know, someone else's creativity and respecting it. And I don't know, I'm a very respectful person, you know. Oh, for sure. So nothing personal is kind of like, that's my outlet to bringing creative projects out. You know, at first when I was having fun, you know, with doing bone shoes, or, you know, putting rhinestones all over some shoes, it's like, those were Blazzy products. And then after a while I realized, you know what, I want to have my own brand, especially when, you know, I've helped a lot of people build their shit. You know, I was like, let me do it like that. But I treat the project as like, you know, I just want to have fun with it. You know, I never want to be put on a calendar and like, okay, I got to have a shirt next Monday, I got to do this next Tuesday, you know. And like, thankfully, you know, through like my business relationships with my clients, you know, I'm able to like design freely for this brand, and, you know, focus on whatever I think looks good without money being a, you know, problem. I just wanted to create modern vintage, you know. I feel like a lot of people, we really gotta take a step back and really like take a look at ourselves and ask ourselves, why do we like vintage stuff? It's for the timestamps. It's for like, you know, context, and like just getting a piece of history that feels like, you know, you've now captivated through a t-shirt. So with that, you know, me and Caleb were just thinking like we should do something that's like around coronavirus. You know, this was just like a hot word that just came out a week prior. You know, it seemed like a China problem at first. And we did that, and you know, ironically, once they're at 100,000, I think it hadn't even hit Australia or like parts of Africa. I was scared. I was telling like, bro, we gotta drop this shit ASAP. Like, we're gonna find a cure. We're wasting our time with this. Like, what are we doing? And you know, people really liked it, and I'm very thankful. And you know, that's, you know, I love shirts with like interaction and like purpose. You know, I think that's why you don't really see me drop like logo shirts or anything like that. I'm glad you asked that question, because that's a topic that no one talks about. You know, I think that, and I'm pretty sure you could say for yourself, I think once COVID happened, sure, there was a month of uncertainty, and you were kind of like wondering what's gonna happen. Am I gonna have a job still? You know, but it's you know, it seemed like everyone kind of, you know, benefited from it. You know, with all due respect to everyone, you know, who lost everything, but I think as far as brand owners, like, more people were at home, and for some reason, whether it's EDD or whatever it is, more people wanted to shop, you know, so it's benefiting. You know, I kind of need that extra, like, you know, fire under my ass, you know. I like just having that, like, oh shit, now it's like real, you know, and like, fuck, maybe April's cool, but like, I don't know about May, you know. May's all right, we survived May, fuck, am I gonna make money in June, you know? So it was a lot of that, but that's kind of like what helped me like really, you know, like stay my ground. For sure. I think like, I mean, I've always like, since I'll say maybe like 2017, when I was just charging like $30, I've always kind of had jobs, you know, and always had, you know, like 20 projects a month to do. But COVID was the time that I took a step back and really started valuing my own work, and, you know, started making, you know, more broader and like stronger business decisions versus, you know, just selling one graphic. You know, from then, you know, through COVID, you know, since then I've been, you know, now I'm part of UMG, you know, Phase, and that happened, you know, the first couple of months of COVID, you know, so it's taught me a lot, you know. I'm so thankful for COVID. I might get a COVID tattoo, I don't know. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you could see anybody's growth, you know, like, bro, like, I remember, like, Chinatown probably like tripled their brand, you know, since then. And not only that, but I think that, you know, through the pandemic, it's been a lot of people who, you know, took a step back, you know, from their jobs or from school, and actually asked themselves like, fuck, what could I be spending my time on? Oh, look at these brands, they're doing shit, you know, let me do some shit. Which I think it's dope, you know. And like, people like to say that, oh, the community's watered down, but you know, if you're gonna say that, you know, at least mention that it only makes you look better if you're doing some dope shit, you know. So I think the pandemic affected a bunch of brand owners, a bunch of people started their brands. I've seen a lot of cool shit since then, you know. And I think it's really like, I mean, you've seen it, you know, it's like now there's like a real community, and there's like, you know, 150 members, you know. It went from like 5 to 10, now there's like 100, you know, in like the family tree, you know. So in 2018, when I quit my job at LAX, I decided to put money down into getting like a studio. Like, just it was at like this music recording area, and from that moment on, I transformed my income, and I transformed so many things about my business life. This is 2018, to the point where it got me my first apartment, right? And that's when I got rid of a space, and I was just trapping and working on my apartments. And up until December, I kind of told myself, like, you know, if I want to scale, if I want to grow more, like, I gotta have a space, and I gotta make shit more professional. And since I got the office, like, you know, it's the same. It's kind of just exponentially grown. You know, there's a lot more people. I was just talking to George about it earlier. Like, I think it's so funny that like my bio last year was a one-man army, you know, and like now it's like, dude, like I can't run this ship alone, you know. It's like I need people's help, and you know, through that I just kind of want to you know, like funnel a bunch of creatives that kind of share the same problem that I felt I was facing early on, whereas, you know, where could I get my shit seen, you know, like why am I turning to my friends for like input, and like they're not even being receptive, you know. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I never really had like a blueprint, and I don't think there really is a blueprint for like a modern day graphic designer in this field. And what I'm just trying to show is like just every kid, like, yo, this is how you do it, you know, and like it is possible. You don't need a resume ever, you know, and that's how you make shit happen. But to answer your question, yeah, the office definitely transformed a lot of things for me since December. The opportunity to, you know, like have your clients come into your world for, you know, an hour, you know, and like really observing, you know, what you're about, and like showing the true hustle in the office. And another portion of that, like I love when I'm inviting someone over, like, yo, like this space is dope, you know, I just want to work here, you know. It's like, it means a lot to me, because I've always wanted to build a space like this, you know. And I'm glad it finally has made sense, and it's also an opportunity for me to really showcase my work. You know, I can only show so much on Instagram, you know. My biggest problem is like sometimes I'm thinking like, oh, this isn't even a big deal to post about, and then I miss the opportunity. But you know, I kind of treat this place like a barbershop downstairs. Like if I ever have a client over and they're like, I want this style, I want that style, or if they're like, I don't even know what I want, it's like, okay, cool, let's go downstairs and shit, out of these 20 odd posters, let me know which one, you know, you like the most, and like which vibe you'd probably want me to follow. And this isn't even, you know, all my work out here. It's probably like 20 of my favorite. Probably made like 700 designs or something like that. For people who are looking to get their own office space, I highly encourage them to do so. Obviously, you know, only do it if, you know, it makes sense. You know, make sure you know you could do it. And also a big benefit is like, bro, share the space with your homies, you know. Then you guys can go half on the rent, you guys could go, you know, quarter on the rent, and it just makes things more smart. And yeah, like I said, you could only have people pull to your house so often, or you know, you could be that kid with the backpack with your laptop designing for so often. But like, nothing's more powerful than telling someone like, hey, come through, park right there, nice to meet you, come upstairs, let's close this, you know. So I recommend everybody to do it. You really start to like build a community, and you know, you just kind of you attract good opportunities for yourself. It's not a lot of brands that you know, have offices, but shout out to Menace, you know, shout out to La Ropa, George, you know, all the homies and shit, Hyplan, like because they see the vision of having a warehouse, and I'm sure, like, you know, all those brands respectfully, you know, have like really developed their own like community and family. You know, La Ropa has a big ass family. They're all like yeah, one big ass family. I don't know, but yeah, do it for sure. Yeah, so it started in about January, February. I ran into a serious client, and he said, you know, hey, I want to do this with you, but I need more people, you know. So a week later, I was going through my DMs, and, you know, I met the dude who does Hectic Universe, you know, and just do graphics, and I was just DMing him like, yeah, pull up, let's work on some shit. Then through there, I met an illustrator, you know, and then after that, you know, we hired like my best friend's little brother, you know. It's like some crazy shit. And then, you know, now we're on to the fourth guy. So, you know, and then we got, you know, another person just handles sourcing, and, you know, and then like, you know, we got a whole like football team of just people who have like different traits and, you know, skills and stuff. Yeah. I would say do it for sure, you know. Like the stronger you guys move together, the better, you know, the bigger, I should say. I think it's a good idea for everybody to just build the team. I don't see why not. It's, you know, at a certain point, you just got to accept that, like, you can't do everything, you know. It's like, I was just talking to my homie about this morning. It's, you know, like for instance, Virgil Abloh, you know, he's doing his own shit with Nike, he's doing Off-White, and he's also doing Louis Vuitton. Like, you really think, like, each of those companies, you know, there's at least 50 products coming from each every 6 months. So you really think he's making 150 of those? He'd be stressed out, and he's DJing and doing all the other shit. So it's like, that's kind of a compass of where I've really been putting it with the whole team thing. Through that, you know, I went to Rosarito, Mexico. That's like Baja California last year, and this was January. This is a week after, you know, Star Wars trailers just came out and the Baby Yoda was out, right? And it was only 7 days, and I'm crossing the border, and like, Tijuana has like a infamous border of just taking 4 hours. You know, you should be there all day. So we're just waiting in line, and I start seeing you know, people selling shit on the side of the border, and it was Baby Yoda piggy banks. So I'm like, damn, how the fuck are they that fast? You know, and it's like, that would be really sick. And it's like, what else would be really sick? And, you know, the SpongeBob is just a big piece of my childhood. You know, it's like, especially that design. Everyone, you know, all the hood swap meets had it, you know, so it's a relic, you know, for sure, to my childhood. And that's kind of how we made that, you know, and it's been my best product ever, you know. Very thankful for it. I'm glad it's no longer the Perk 30 jersey, you know. So that's kind of how we made it, and, you know, there's been a lot of blessings made through that, for sure. I mean, cause like, I feel like I proved myself already with t-shirts, you know, like, I have a lot of fun with t-shirts. I still do them, you know, it's my fucking job. It's my day job. I still do them, but like, I'm aware that if I keep doing graphics for 3 years, you know, after a certain while, there's gonna be someone who's gonna be the next Blazzy, and so on and so forth. So it's really you know, just about like rediscovering myself, you know, and like finding, you know, carving different pieces of my brain that, like, okay, maybe I haven't done this medium. And accessory, you know, it's a 3D product. You know, the t-shirt, you can only hold it, you know, you could wear and that's it. With this, you could throw it in the air, you could, you know, stuff like that. I mean, there's a ton that are being made right now. I mean, like, the only thing that I don't have the resources to make right now is probably like, you know, like a video game or something like that, or like, it would be cool like one day to make a car. Like, is that illegal, you know, to make a car? I'll be thinking about that. Like, can I just build some shit? But you know, the internet, man, don't sleep on the internet. I had a lot of big brand owners, like guys that, you know, would fucking flick us off their hand, you know what I mean? Like, huge brand owners that make millions of dollars, and they're asking me about the SpongeBob's and the Negos, like, how'd you do that? And it's like, bro, Alibaba, you know, I'll be honest with you, you know, like, it's, everyone gets scared when they start seeing shit like that, so like they start itching their head. But like, bro, like, we have resources like Google, you know, this ain't 2005 anymore. We don't have to go to the phone book or go fucking, you know, fly out to there, you know. It's like, you got that shit at the palm of your hands, man. Like, all that shit that they think you gotta present to have a fulfilling product. Like, I made the SpongeBob's off a photo, you know, so I didn't have some crazy fucking technician, like, you know, analyzing it. No, I just, hey, I like this photo, here's like 12, you know, like piggy banks like this, let's fucking do that, and that's how we got it. Well, the Nigo My Amigo plushies, it came from an interesting story. So when I met Hectic Universe, he had this product, and I'm like, have you dropped this yet? And he's like, nah. So what I told him, like, look, man, like, let me make the packaging, and you have the plushie, and then we'll just collab it together. And that's kind of the way we're doing it. And you know, we decided to make them public edition, and you know, I just want people to, you know, just to be part of something that's like has an inclusive energy, but it's exclusive. You know, it's only 300 of them made. You know. Yeah. So, yeah, I made the packaging. It's very fun. I kind of did broken English right here. What I did was I typed out a paragraph, and I translated in Japanese, and then I took that translation and translated it back to English, and that's how I got that quote, that paragraph right there. The funny part is like, I'll say probably about like 70% of it I misspelled, but they did the other 30%. So they pushed my my idea a little more forward. But you know, shout out to Lee from Babylon. He's the one who saw the SpongeBob. And he's like, "This is cool, Blazzy, but like next time you do something like this, please put like public edition and put like out of 300." And that's, yeah, like I said, that's really helped me, you know, like see the bigger picture. That, and I just love Windows. I was doing this shit, you know, with the SpongeBobs. You know, it's just fun, you know, it's fun to look at. My whole philosophy behind packaging, it's like everyone's buying some shit from Louis Vuitton, you know, from a crazy luxury brand, and whenever we get something from them, like we get like 7 boxes, or like with Apple products, right? And it's just like it's the packaging is so nice, we feel guilty to throw it away the next day. You know, it's like you gotta chill there for a month, or like that might be your next, like, you know, receipt box or whatever, you know. So you know, great packaging is just something that like I really, you know, strive to do. You know, it's the best way to really present something, and you know, and like really showcase, and like, you know, you're creating the border pretty much around the product itself, in my opinion. But good packaging will make you have the box just chilling in your house for weeks, for sure. I would say, to answer your question, yes, just because they're doing okay packaging, right? And I think like the way that like packaging has gone like the last like 3-4 years is it's starting to like really becoming very minimal. You know, let's just make it as quiet and like, you know, just like monotone as possible. And I'm the opposite. You know, you can see it in the graphic design. You know, I'm gonna apply it to the production, to the packaging as well. But I like it's now a piece of my my services that clients are hitting me up for, where it's you know, I went from t-shirts, now it's okay, let's have you do the whole collection. Now it's like, hey Blazzy, let's sit down and make an accessory, you know. So I like it. You know, it's fun, and I tell everybody, you know, this is the best thing you could get into if you really want to showcase what you're about and what you can make. You know, I saw a lot of people do it with the shoes, and you know, all respect to them, because that's something that people are like, okay, I'm so used to seeing people make t-shirts, now I'm seeing shoes, and it's kind of cool how everyone's, you know, doing their own perspective on it, you know. So I don't know, I hope I could just show people that, you know, accessories is just like a fucking, it's the wild west right now. Like there's a lot of shit that you go through eBay, or you'll go to your fucking local Goodwill, or you'll just find your favorite creative making. It's like, damn it, like why didn't I think of that? You know, it's like, yeah. So that's my thing about accessories, for sure. I want to work with Kanye West for sure one day. I want to work with Nike. I want to work with, for sure, Rockstar Games. You know, I got that shit tatted. You know, like I really love that shit. And I don't know, there's a lot of people I'd love to work with, but like as far as my favorites, for sure those. That and shit, Drake, what's up? You know, let's work on some shit. Travis Scott too. I feel like for sure Travis Scott's team knows what's up. You know what I mean? But like Travis Scott is pinning down like Avant Space like posts on his fucking mood board and like stringing it all together. But yeah, for sure those guys. I got a whole collection I'm gonna start previewing, promoting right after Nico's. It's about 90% finished. It's only that 10% that like is really holding me back. It's gonna be 30 products, and you know, I had to take a step back and think about it. Like I haven't done the solo like collection since 2019. You know what I mean? So it's definitely something that like I just want to show people that, you know, you could have a brand and not drop every month and everything will be okay. You know, so it's also another part I want to talk about the drop. It's, you know, I made sure that each product within the 30-piece collection could stand alone and could, you know, can be promoted singly, you know, so that's what it's all about. I'm not designing to fill in, you know, spaces in my collection. I'm just trying to make 30 bangers, 30 pieces where it's like people could argue like, nah, this one's better. Nah, you're tripping. This one was way better. That one was cool. but I like that one. That's my goal for sure. You know, and you know, it's less about like skulls and bones with me now. It's like, you know, there's a lot of like social topics that I'm kind of you know, sharing with my collection. And like, you know, I was talking about Wicked Thoughts. I was talking to Khalil about that, you know, a couple months ago over the phone. Like, you know, there's streetwear and then there's like social wear, you know what I mean? And like, I feel like that's what people like subconsciously want, you know? And, you know, it's part of telling a story for sure. I mean, for like the last, probably like, well, since COVID started, like those first 6 months, I was like for sure thinking like, oh, it's gonna implode, right? And you know, a bunch of, you know, I was going into these big meetings and stuff, and like a bunch of them were a little reluctant at first because they didn't really believe this whole underground and the way it's like kind of like shifting and shaping, you know, the way we see streetwear. But it's starting to all come, you know, now the meetings are, hey, yeah, let's talk about it, let's figure out ways we could work, because, you know, it's an unstoppable force, and I'm just proud of every brand that's like really, you know, like holding their weight. And, you know, because like at the end of the day, like, you know, my whole thing is I just want to prove to like, you know, like commercial and like mainstream streetwear that like there's this side of the internet that's like making millions of dollars that no one's aware about. And like, whether y'all fuck with us or not, we're still gonna move, and like we still have the people there from each sides of the spectrum, you know. So that's kind of that's where I think streetwear is going. I think, you know, it's I mean, like Virgil, you know, a lot of people come out streetwear who like become, you know, big successful entities. So I think there's a whole lot to come. I'm glad that it's like it's a career path for like, you know, teenagers to, you know, take a look at and like seriously consider. Just because when I was 18, it's like that seemed like such like a crazy idea to run a brand on the internet and not have a store and all types of shit, you know. So I think it's just gonna grow from here for sure. Yeah. I want to be known for being like a creative. You know, in 10 years, I think I'm gonna be like, you know, like making sculptures and, you know, a bunch of like art, you know, like my, like the way I started, like when I was in high school, I was just doing, you know, street art. You know, I was doing gallery shit like that by the time I was like 17. You know, I was posting, you know, big ass wheat paste on Melrose, you know, like before Melrose is what it was now. Like in 2011, when I was just a junior in high school, like, you know, we were hitting rooftops and we were putting all that shit up. So like, I've always expressed my creativity, you know, whether it was playing Sims or, you know, like just drawing some shit. So, you know, whatever I do like 10 years from now, I know like, you know, it's gonna be just representing who I am, and that's just creativity, you know. That's definitely what I want to be known for at the end of the day. I think a little house phone should definitely, you know, share his like take on, you know, modern streetwear, just because he's been there for everybody from the very beginning. He gave me my first 1,000 followers. You know, I had 800 followers. I pulled up to his house right after work one day, and I made him some fucking rhinestone Revenge Storm shoes. And he posted on his Instagram, get Blazzy to 1,000 followers. And he did it. He only had like 15 too. You know, he had 15K, I had fucking 800 followers. And, you know, he was a real one for doing that, you know. So I think Lil House Phone has like a very interesting perspective on like where it's grown, you know, because now all the brand owners starting to really figure who the guy is now, you know. So Lil House Phone, that's probably, if there's anyone, probably want to interview him for sure.